Well, hey friends, it's Romania Black, and we are on episode 17 of Dungeon Meshi, aka Delicious in Dungeon, aka my dog wants me to throw a toy. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. I had two trips back to back, two separate weekends, and I thought, okay, well, I will just watch episode 16 before I go on my trips, and I'm sure that I will not have the inclination or urge to watch episode 17 after that. And then yeah, how about that? So no, I watched episode 16 honestly a week and a half ago before I went on my two trips back to back, and I have been itching to watch Dungeon Meshi ever since, and the it has been real. The urge has been real, and I'm so excited that we're on episode 17 because episode 16 was amazing. Episode 16 was so good. I was like, oh, it's just like everything I'd waited for Kabru and Laios to meet has happened, and I could not be more excited. So obviously, we have some drama. Because I don't know if you knew this, but if you do forbidden magic, like, I don't know, bring your dead sister and girlfriend back, you could be imprisoned for life. What? So, and of course, Laios is like, oh, well, it's fine if no one knows. In front of a whole party, the biggest party that we've had in the series in one sitting. And he's like, oh, well, you guys won't tell, right? And meanwhile, Kabru's like, eating it up. Kabru is flushed and is just like in peak psychopath. Like, he's like Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. When Laios, well, maybe I guess Laios would be because he's like, oh, well, no one's going to tell about, Falin being brought back by ancient forbidden magic because, the implication. I'm having way too much fun with this series, as you probably have been able to tell, and I'm really excited about it. But we do have a lot of comments surrounding episodes 13 and 14 that I want to talk about with you all before we dive in. So let's just get right to it, shall we? Episode 13, Chair Check said, a minor note. I love that Marcel shoulders her magic staff like a rifle. I thought that was really cool. And they're battling the dragon, doing all that. That was awesome. Or battling the ancient elf that knows dark magic, for example. Chair Check also says in episode 14, remember how in the previous episode, Chilchuck told Laios he should spend less time studying monsters and more time studying people? That's Kabru. All he does is study people. And I was like, oh, that's why I am so into the relationship between Kabru and Laios, because they're so perfect. They're perfect foils. They're the yin to each other's yang. They complete each other. Kabru is shit when it comes to monsters, and Laios is not great when it comes to people, but they each fill the holes that each other has in more ways than one. Yeah. They fill each other's holes and complete each other. Oh, I'm gonna have too much fun with them. I'm gonna have too much fun with Kabru and Laios. They're probably not gonna let us stay with Kabru and Laios very much longer in this series. I don't foresee Kabru and Laios being in the same party for a long time, because that would be too egregious. That would be too spoiling. That would give us too much goodies all at once. They're probably going to make Kabru go separate ways from Laios, and then they're going to meet back up, because that's how the show will work. We'll see. Kayonashi in episode 13 says, my theory is that Senshi did sense the movement in the room when Falin left, but he thought, Falin is in bed with Marcel. I should probably give them some privacy. I'm here for that shipping sensei headcanon, Kiyonashi. I'm here for that. Yexon Lee 592 for episode 13 says, I really love how logical, ? Everyone in the show is with making decisions. Our boys talking heart to heart and being vulnerable with each other. We love to see it. Yes. There's so much about Dungeon Meshi that I really, really enjoy, but I think some of the best things are not only body representation and the various body types that we see represented in the show and kind of the celebration of that variety, but also the fact that we have lots of platonic friendships. I love shipping. As you just heard me say with Kabru and Laios, I love shipping to pieces, but I'm also a fan of of great platonic friendships that are just like, hey, bro, you and me, bro. And I feel like Sinchi, Chilchuck, and Laios, they are like just such a bromance, and I love it so much. It's so good. It's so good. Sebastian Weinberg for episode 14 had a pretty big comment here saying Asebi, the one with the cat ears, it looks like, and the looks like a ninja garb. They actually explain it a little bit better, so I want to talk about their comment in episode 14. Asebi, this is something where Western reactors tend to differ from original Japanese audiences. To a Japanese viewer, it's just someone wearing the traditional kuroge outfit that stagehands and kabuki plays wear to signal, ignore me, I'm not part of the play, treat me as invisible, which is supposedly where the modern idea of a ninja suit comes from. They would likely assume, as you did, that Kuro, the kobold, is growling at Tade the Oni. Or, at most, they'd think, oh, he's growling at the Kuroge girl because the points on the traditional hat look like cat ears. Western watchers tend to jump immediately to, the person in the ninja suit with the cat ears must be a cat girl. Well, yes. Yeah. I honestly thought that at first Kobold was growling at Tade because they were an Oni, but then I was like, oh, well, wait, the one in the what I thought was ninja garb and not Kuroge garb looks like a cat. So Kobold looking more like a dog would be that. But there's another comment that's going to explain that a little bit more. What's interesting about that is I've seen Western plays adapt the concept of the Kurogi. When I was in high school, we had to watch a lot of Shakespearean plays from the BBC in the 90s. There was one with Ian McKellen, I think, as Hamlet or Macbeth, one of the two. And it was a very stripped down. There were no props. They were all in very simple clothing. But there were also a lot of people in black that would move props around, and you weren't supposed to pay any attention to them. They were moving the props so it looked minimal, but looked like if things were flying, they would grab a chair, kind of like Hamilton. You see people grab chairs to make them move like it's an explosion, but it's kind of the concept of the Kurogi where don't pay attention to the people moving the objects moving is the action. So that makes more sense. I didn't know what that was called, so thank you for clarifying that. That makes more sense. But Sebastian also talks about interesting kobold facts. The name kobold comes from German folklore, where they are mischievous house spirits who sometimes are helpful, but are more likely to cause tools to break just when you need them the most, or to hide small things in places where you could swear you never left them. Oh, German folklore and making mischievous things happen. Look at that. They were usually portrayed as small human-like figures. When Dungeons & Dragons, D&D, first came out, they took the name, and only the name, for a race of fantasy creatures. In early editions, these were pictured as humanoid dog people, but later this was changed to smaller anthropomorphic lizard-like creatures. However, the idea in that Western fantasy kobold means a dog person seems to have stuck in Japan even after the game was changed. As much as I'm here for lizard people, I'm more of a dog person than a lizard person, so I kind of like the idea that the kobold is a dog. Also, there's just something about the name kobold. It reminds me of like Cujo, or I don't know. It just makes me, the way it sounds like a dog name. Like Balto, Cujo, Kobold. There's just something about the name that I think kobold, I think of a dog. It's weird, the nomenclature of it. But that's interesting. So thank you, Sebastian Weinberg. Generation Wumbo for episode 14 says, Kabru is so fun. I love how creepily charming he is. One thing the anime downplays, but the show does not, but does show, one thing the anime downplays but does show, is that Kabru's party totally, intentionally, pushed the corpse harvesters' corpses into the water, so they will presumably get eaten by the monsters and never resurrected. Which makes the whole thing a bit darker. I mention it because you alluded to the possibility, yeah, Kabru doesn't care. That's one thing I love about Kabru's character is, in terms of him being a foil to Laios, Laios cares a lot. And Laios would not kill somebody unless I think it was absolutely necessary. Laios would protect somebody till the end or try to save them. Kabru don't give a shit. Kabru's like, oh, kill him, and like pushes him away. So it is very dark, honestly, what they do when you think about it. You're like, oh, they kind of just brushed over it in the anime. Like, oh, they just left the people in the water. No, they were intending for them not to be able to be resurrected. That's like, oh, that's some mafia shit right there. I was like, oh, okay. And then Blue Blade kind of tags onto that, saying in episode 14, the manga included a few more details on how Kabru's party died. It turns out they couldn't hear the fishmen coming from behind because they'd blocked their ears earlier to not get drawn in by the mermaid singing. See, here's the thing. They didn't know enough about the monsters. If they'd had Laios in their party, Laios could have shown off his beautiful singing voice and also wooed Kabru even more. Like, all of these possibilities are just right there for the taking, y'all. So Anime Annie finishes up our comment section by saying the kiss between Kabru and Reen honestly made me think of Chief Zahn's little sister helping Laios and Marcel in the previous episode with the orc concoction. I'm pretty sure Marcel would have been much on board for Reen giving her a kiss or Kabru giving her a kiss than having that orc do sludge mouth to mouth, but the concept is the same. It wasn't meant to be romantic in any shape or form, and simply a quick and easy method of safety helping their party. I can see why some people would ship Kabru and Reen together, but if I was to view them through a romantic lens, the most I could say is potentially Reen liking Kabru. Yeah, no, Kabru is not into Reen. Reen, I think, is into Kabru, but I definitely think it's one-sided. Anime Annie says Kabru really is a flirt. He knows how to play up his looks and how to be smooth as an operator to gain what he wants. And I do kind of like that he has a manipulative side to him, mostly because it creates a nice juxtaposition between him and Laios, as I would not say Laios is good at being purposefully manipulative or flirtatious. Well, I don't know. Laios had a pretty good move there last episode when he was like, hey, Shuro, how about we not talk about this? And I'm like, but yeah, that's why I love them so much, because Kabru is everything that Laios is not, and Laios has everything that Kabru needs. So the ship sails itself, y'all. The ship sails itself. And I just need it to just go set sail, go to sea, just cast off. I've already christened it. Let's go. So we'll just see where that takes us, right? I'm excited to see what's going to happen in episode 17. So thank you all so much for your kind words, your comments. I am so excited to see where this goes. But the ultimatum has been thrown down. What are they going to do to Laios' request? I guess we're going to find out, right? So we're going to start episode 17 of Delicious in Dungeon, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's put in our headphones first. And let's go. Oh, so loud. Turn that down just a hair. Sometimes the headphones and the sound is really loud, and sometimes it's not loud enough. So it's like trying to find that balance. Look, I just want Laios to treat Kabru to Hot Pot. I think that would be great. Monster Hot Pot. Can we do that, please? Aw, and Chilchuck even showed up with some calamari. It's great. Aw. Oh, I love the cabbage that's in Marcel's hoodie. That's cute. Where in the hot pot? That's not creepy at all. And the one king is dancing with the dark elf. Speaking of elves, there's quite a lot of elves in this OP, and we saw them on the boat in the last OP as well, so they've got to show up at some point. Aww. We'll see how this goes. Oh, Chilchuck looks really good with the unbuttoned collar there. Look at him. Look at him. Ooh! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Since she's like, anybody hungry? Ooh. Oh. Right. Ooh. Oh, don't you dare, Kabru. Oh, Cheryl's like, but I did love her, so. Right. Oh, I think he would have if he had the choice. Yeah. Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, I mean, we may have used black magic. Oh, not many of us do. No, probably not. Oh. Oh, poor Laios. Oh, well, shit. Chilchuck's like, what'd you do? Yes! Chilchuck's like, oh no! Oh no, I should have gone with this group. Oh my god! Kabru! Let me get as close to you as possible. Oh man. Oh wow. He was trying to buddy up to you as a brother-in-law. Ooh. Well, I think there's more to it than that, but yeah. Oh. Kabru's like, oh shit, what the fudge? Oh, harpies. Like the one fantasy creature I know about. Funny that we have Falin, who kind of looks like a chicken harpy. Ah. She's like, shit. She's like, I didn't want people to know about my dark magic. Oh my god. Oh wow. Well, they've got this. For now. And him. Who, me? Oh. Yeah. I like how even Marcel's like, man, he's hot. Well, that was the case. Oh no! Right. 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 Yeah. Well, we didn't erase any of the evidence, actually. Oh, well, technically. No! Yeah, they'll be able to know. Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh shit, we're gonna do it now? We're gonna show her now? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh shit! Well... Oh shit. Uh-huh. 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 Oh my god. It's so cool! I knew Lance would have a reaction like that! Oh. It's a dragon that... Oh my god. Shit! Oh my god. Oh my gosh. She's like, well, I mean, but... Oh my god. Oh shit! Oh my... Oh! Oh! Oh shit! Oh my god. Well, that's terrifying. I mean, Falin was really scary because of how strong she was, so that shouldn't be surprising. Oh, she's gonna kill all of them. Oh my god. Oh shit. Crap. Oh! Crap, she's like the dragon and the chicken. Oh, is it an Undine? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh, Falin. Oh my god. Oh. Yeah. Oh, Kabru. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, it's a problem if she can do magic too. Are you sure? Oh, Kabru. Why does Kabru look like an IT executive when he takes his armor off? Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god. Oh! 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 Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god. Oh! Oh! Oh my god! Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! 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 Oh my god. Oh. Oh shit! Come on! No, 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 no! Oh my god! Oh my god! Everyone's dying! Oh, well, you both would! You both would! You both would! I love both of them. Are like, oh well. Oh my god. Oh! Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The wounded, the corpses. Oh, thank god. Oh, we'll revive Kabru first, though. Priorities. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Okay. You chose her over Reen. Okay. So Reen maybe can't resurrect everybody. Okay. Wow. No. Oh, shit. Oh. Well, I mean, I don't think it's all of it. Oh. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Oh. Oh. Damn. Oh my God. Oh no, Marcel. Ooh. Ooh. Well, no, but oh. Okay. 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 Oh. Cabru! Look at him! Oh, Shuro. I think he is being. Ooh! 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 Oh, shit! No! He's like, I was being serious. Oh. 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 Oh my God. Ah! Oh. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh. The worst timing. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Well, Laios is different. Oh. Oh. Gentlemen. Gentlemen. You're both pretty. Quit fighting. Oh. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah. 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 Wow, yeah. Okay. Poor Marcel. You stay out of this. She's like, I can try. Okay. Oh, her little ears perking up. Okay. I'm glad Tade's okay. Oh, McBell and Chilchuck. Oh my god. Oh, okay. Oh, Reen and Kabru. These two. Okay. Oh, Kobold. Are you two done yet? Give him the damn onigiri. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh, Asebi, yeah. She's one of the ones that knows about everything. Although everybody knows now. Oh. Oh. Ah! What? What? Well, if you... Oh. 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 Mmm. Is she gonna tear apart that caterpillar? Mmm. Ah. You could stick around and tell her. I know! Oh. Oh. That I envy. Oh. Whoo! Whoo! Oh. Achoo! Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. Oh. Uh-huh. Oh, Laios. Oh, Kabru. I mean, I love he's throwing the Cerebrus. Oh. Oh! Want to go on a dinner date? I love Laios, like, helping to make it. Oh, is it an omelet? A harpy egg omelet. I mean... Oh. Oh, feed it to him. Feed it to him. Tade. Give me all the rice. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So they're all going? I mean, they have before, so. Oh. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Oh! Oh, was it? Oh. Oh, bitch. Next time. Next time. We're going to see each other next time. Oh! 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 It was too good to be true. Now we're wanted vigilantes. Oh. Damn! Holy shit, this episode! I'm sorry. What? Holy shit, y'all. So Asebi's missing, which I feel like Asebi is going to join them. They're going to find Asebi, but I wonder what that will entail. Yeah, and when are these elves coming? Oh my god. I want happy Falin, not Falin being controlled by the dark elf. I want that. I want that, y'all. Why can't we have that? Oh my god, are you kidding? Are you joking? Oh, show you gonna make us work for this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Holy shit! All right. Well, that went bad. That went very bad. That was insanity. I was not ready to sit down and have that all go down in this episode. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Oh, and my dogs have no sympathy for me. Oh. Wow, okay. We have a lot to talk about. You know what, so, I talked about it in the intro, but they were not gonna let Kabru and Laios stick around for very long, were they? Because they knew it was too good. They knew it was too good. They were like, no, the creator was like, oh, Kabru and Laios are just too good together, so we can't have them together all the time. You'll all get spoiled. And I was like, spoil me. I'm ready. My body is ready. So no, damn it. They've got to make Kabru go away. But there were some things that happened in this episode. We need to talk about it. I figured that Chicken Falin, I figured that Chicken Harpy Falin, Chimera Falin. So we've established she's kind of like a chimera, okay? She's not really a harpy necessarily, but she's also not, she's like dragon mixed with harpy, mixed with human, a tall man, and is being controlled by the magician. Okay, so here's the crazy thing. I expected them to show her to us before the end of the season. I did not expect it this episode. No. I did not. The Harpies just came out of nowhere, and I did not expect it at all. And then when I saw the Harpies, I'm like, oh, those are kind of like Falin. And then there she was. But it makes sense with Shuro being there. There's a lot to talk about. We're just going to have to go through this chronologically and break this down because I'm going to miss stuff. But, well. So, Whiteboard Coon is out here because Whiteboard Coon felt the need to join us this week. And so let's just establish this idea. So Marcel did a boo-boo. Marcel used ancient dark magic, which is a big no-no in the world of fantasy adventuring in the dungeon. And so over here, we're going to put Shuro right here. We're going to put Shuro. He's not as easy to see for you all, but we're going to put Shuro right there. Okay? You all can still hear me, right? So Shuro's suggestion is to turn Marcel over. To the elves of the West, which the OP and EDs for this entire series has led us to believe they're on their way. They're coming. What their views of Marcel are, we don't know. Marcel doesn't seem too amused by the concept of being turned into them, so I'm guessing she doesn't have a very good relationship with her kindred people, so that doesn't seem good. And so Shuro has suggested they turn Marcel in, but also is aware of the fact that anyone affected or involved is probably going to be imprisoned, which means that would include Falin and Laios. So Shuro is under the assumption that if anybody finds out that this has happened, that Falin and Laios are going to be basically probably sentenced to imprisonment for dabbling in the dark arts. And Marcel's probably going to be sent away, which is a problem. Now, Asebi, Chilchuck said the only ones that knew about it were like 4 people for now. But, I mean, anybody that knew Falin and saw her in that form pretty much knows there's shit going down. So I do not think it's going to be limited to a few people for very long at all. The only thing is that Shuro's party has kind of left to go back to the east, supposedly, to get off the island before shit goes down. They're like, peace out, bye. So that means the only ones left that really know about all of this are Kabru, our TMZ warrior, and his crew. No, and then Asebi. Asebi is the only person of Shuro's party that has stayed behind. I thought it was interesting that they just kind of left Asebi. I thought it was interesting they kind of just abandoned Asebi. Now, the one woman that is the main maid, she has like the owl sleeves. She's the one that's raised Shuro. She didn't seem to have very good... She didn't seem very close to Asebi, is the best way I can put it. She didn't seem very fond of Asebi. And so she kind of was just, sort of like tolerating her existence. So I'm not surprised that they left without Asebi, but I'm surprised they just casually were like, okay, bye. And then they're like, I guess she's missing. She probably ran away. That to me points out a couple of things. We're going to put that Asebi is over here. Asebi is MIA. To me, that leads me to believe that Asebi was not particularly close to Shuro's party, or they were a newer member that hadn't been in the party very long. So their loyalty hadn't built up with Shuro's party. So them going missing and they were like, oh, well, they just joined. So I guess they just tucked tail and ran. Who knows? But I just didn't get a vibe that they all bonded with Asebi very much. And Asebi was very kind of secretive. So I don't know what their deal is, but I'm assuming we're going to find out at some point, because we all know how this song and dance goes. When a character goes missing mysteriously, it's like they're going to show back up at some point. So the question is when and under what circumstance. So yeah, I think the saddest thing was that Laios thought that Shuro was his friend. And so we're going to put Laios over here. We're going to put Laios over here, that he wants to rescue his sister. Obviously, he wants to rescue Falin. That is priority number 1. Is he just wants to rescue his sister. And he thought that Shuro was a friend. they are kind of still friends, but Shiro kind of reveals, he was very envious of Laios. So Shiro's whole thing is that he was envious of how carefree and kind of, he says he's dense and everything, but I don't want to say simple, because I think that's an insult to Laios, because he's not simple, but I feel like straightforward Laios is, and how pure and kind-hearted he is, which we'll get into later on in this, right? And I need an extra marker for Kabru, because Kabru, oh my god. So we start out the episode with them being super tense with one another, and we go back to do the recap. I like, since she's like, anybody want any food while all this goes down? And so then Kabru's like, there's nothing more horrifying than black magic. Was bringing this person back worth going down that path? So I want to bring up Kabru over here, because Kabru needs to be brought up. Kabru's whole thing is that they do not like black magic and know how dangerous it is. I mean, Marcel's whole thing is that she didn't really want to use the black magic, but her and Laios, her love for Falin kind of trumped logic in this instance, where she was like, well, I knew it was a really bad idea, but I really love Falin and I was willing to bring her back, so what would you have done, And Kabru says, was it worth bringing them back? And so then Kabru tries to play the situation, saying, well, it's natural that Shiro would be furious, using shady methods to resurrect somebody. That's a bad deal. It's risky. And so then Kabru says, letting her stay dead would have been better for her. And that's when Shiro draws the line and tells him to stop. And he's like, I get what you're trying to say, Kabru, but stop. I feel like Shiro's like, look, I know what you're trying to say, that it was a bad method. It would have been better to let her go. I'm sure that Shiro feels terrible knowing that Falin, because even if Falin is alive, even if they do wrestle her soul, unless they defeat the magician, she's going to be just as doomed as they are. And I feel for Shiro, because he does seem like he really loves Falin. He loves her and he wants the best for her. And so the idea of her being in this form, he's probably like, oh, is probably devastating to him. He's like, she looks like a monster. He doesn't feel like she's herself. She is being imprisoned by the dark magician. So you can definitely understand that he's very concerned about Falin's state of being right now, but he doesn't. I like that he stops Kabru from insulting her, right? And Kabru's just like, okay, sorry. So then he's like, deep down, you probably know that if you were in his shoes, you would have done the same thing. And Shiro says, yes, I do like the fact that Kabru brings up, he's like, I know you're mad at Laios in this moment, but if Marcel had asked you, Shiro, if this was okay to bring her back in the moment, would you have said yes? And Shiro's kind of like, yeah, I would have, but I know now, it's happened now, and now we have to deal with it. So it's one of those things where that doesn't dispute the fact that it's a bad call. And then he says, Laios' attitude is just too much. And so then we go back to what Chilchuck was worried about. And that's that, Laios was really gleeful and happy. And then he's like, oh, we may have used black magic, but don't tell anyone, okay? And Shiro's point is that he's like, I would have taken this seriously. He's like, I would have taken this seriously versus how he feels that Laios is acting. He doesn't think that in this moment Laios is being serious. He's like, Laios is just going on and on about the monsters. Oh, by the way, Shiro, we ate monsters, we found swords, we resurrected your true love with black magic, and now she could be a chicken. So, Shiro does not feel like Laios understands the gravity of the situation. And Laios is such a nice person, and he's so kind-hearted that Shiro's like, I can't be mad at him, but I'm really pissed off at him right now. And so he's trying to express that, but I think Laios is serious. Laios just doesn't let that stuff get to him like it does for Shiro. He's like, I have no clue what's going on in your head, Laios. I don't know what you're thinking. and I don't think I'll ever understand, so I can't help you. And so that's when the Harpies start attacking. So Shiro's like, I can't understand what you're thinking or where you're coming from, so I can't help you. And that goes back to what Chilchuk said is Laios' biggest problem. Laios is such a unique person. And the thing about it is, I feel like when you follow Laios enough, even for a short amount of time, like we'll talk about Kabru and Laios in this, but when you follow Laios for just a little bit amount of time, you understand him, you get where he's coming from. And the thing that's so special about the party is that Marcel and Chilchuk and Sinchi, they all accept Laios. They know how he is. They know how he thinks. They know his faults and his strengths. And they accept him for it. And it's this beautiful found family. Shuro can't quite drop his guard enough to understand Laios. And I think it's more of a Shuro thing than it is a Laios thing. Because I'm like, Marcel and Chilchuk and Sinchi get Laios. They've dropped their guard enough to let Laios in and to understand him. Shuro has never dropped that wall because he's always viewed Laios as a barrier between him and Falin. Which is, again, and I know I'm putting on shipper goggles, so y'all have to excuse Romania while she puts on shipper goggles, but I think to me, that is a sign of why Marcel is a better fit for Falin, because Marcel understands Laios. She may get annoyed with him. She may be like, monsters, all this, you guys are peas in a pod. But Marcel accepts Laios, and she is totally fine with Laios being up in their business. Like, that does not impact her and Falin's moments. Whereas Shuro, from the flashbacks we get and from what he says, he felt like Laios was like, you know, being a third wheel and getting in the way. And he was like, I just want to be alone with Falin. And that's not the right way. That's not the right way to go about it. Even though I would probably feel the exact same way Shuro does. Marcel kind of takes the appropriate response, and her dynamic with Laios and Falin is like a lover and in-law, and Shuro's is like the boyfriend that's, you know, probably not going to last. Is what the vibes get me, and we'll go further into that. So the Harpies show up. Laios tells Chilchuk that now everybody knows anything. He's like, I thought Shuro would get it. And Chilchuk's like, Shuro is the last person you should tell because he's so straightforward, like you, but he takes everything to a hard extreme, whereas you're very carefree with it. Chilchuk's like, that was a terrible idea. Why would you do that? But before they get, and then, as Chilchuk is freaking out, he's like, did I make the wrong call? He's like, should I have come in with this crew instead of staying with Sinchi and the others? Did I do the wrong thing? Kabru comes up behind Laios and he's like, don't beat yourself up, buddy. If you were wanting shipper fodder, this episode gave you so much with Laios and Kabru. It just was like, you want some more? You want a buffet? Here you go. Yeah, Kabru just coming up and being like, don't beat yourself up, buddy. It's rough, buddy. Also, want to point out, while they're standing next to each other, the height difference. If you're a shipper, you know the black hair, the blonde hair, the height difference, the dual personalities. It's just, I feel like Arthur when the meme where he just has the clenched fist. That's me anytime they're on screen together. That's why they had to separate them, because they were like, Romania's going to self-implode. We got to stop this. We got to give girl a break. And so Kabru's like, oh, he's just a little tired. The thing is, Kabru is so smooth talking and he's so snake-like in sometimes when he speaks, but Laios doesn't quite care if Kabru's being manipulative, so he just lets it kind of like water off a duck's back, and he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, I think anybody else would maybe sense that Kabru's being a little bit manipulative, but Laios does not. And he's like, oh, well. And then the sad part is Laios talks about how he had a lot of respect for Shuro. He had a lot of respect. I think Shuro had respect for Laios. He just couldn't figure him out. I also like to see Namari and the Golem. Man, now I want to see Sinchi explaining the golems to Namari. That would have been really cool. I would have loved to see it. He's helped me countless times on our adventures. And then he's told me tales of foreign lands, which it's so interesting to see the two perspectives in this episode. From Laios' perspective, he was like, oh, I was sitting next to my buddy and he was telling me all about foreign lands and everything. Then we see the other side of it where Shuro was like, I wanted him to go away so I could be with Falin. But he told him about things anyway. All I've known was my homeland and this island. Shuro's always been cool-headed and smart. For him to explode like that, I must have really messed up. And I felt bad for Laios when he said that, because it's like, I I mean, Laios and Marcel, yeah, they done goofed, but I feel like Shiro's explosion is a combination of not only what he's found out from Laios, but his own feelings towards Falin, his own insecurities about him not being able to help earlier, his fatigue, his hunger. I feel like all of these factors have come in, but I feel sad that Laios is just blaming himself. He's like, it'd be a shame if our friendship ended. I love that Kabru's sitting here just being like, I feel like Kabru is just analyzing him like a damn velociraptor, trying to figure him out every 5 seconds, right? To see like what makes him tick. So then before anything else, we get this jump scare from a damn harpy. And I was like, oh God. And these harpies, whenever I think of harpies, they're like one of the few fantasy creatures that I kind of understood. And I was like, oh yeah, the harpies. Boobs out and everything, because why not? I like that they tastefully did not have Falin's entire breast exposed. She had the top part covered, by the way. Keeping it classy. Keeping it classy, San Diego. So I was thinking that they would be a threat, but I did not anticipate them murdering people left and right. So Marcel realizes that things are really tense between Shiro and Laios. Chilchuck informs her about everything, and Marcel's like, oh shit. Now he knows she's like, what are we gonna do? And that's when we see one harpy drops dead, and we see everybody fighting the harpies. It looks like things are okay. And they're like, who else knows? Well, 2 people for now. And the curly-haired guy. I love when Kabru looks over at Marcel like, who, me? Kabru just looks over like, wink. Like, just, I'm going to use all of my good looks. Here's the thing. Part of me wonders if Kabru, I want to know Kabru's backstory so badly, but part of me wonders, like, I have so many questions about Kabru, where he's from, why he has his views of Laios and Falin, why he's obsessed with them, why is he so determined to destroy the Dungeon Master, why does he care who destroys the Dungeon Master, where is he from, does he have any like special abilities other than that like he's like an assassin, is he, has he always known he's hot, like, I want to know all the things about Kabru, and I feel like we're going to find out, just maybe not this season. Mm-hmm. But yeah, when he smiles over at Marcel, she's like, oh, okay. And I don't blame you, girl. I mean, even if you were into Falin, Kabru's hot. So, I mean, girl, if some guy snuck a smirk that way at me, I'd probably blush too. Mm-hmm. Although I don't think Kabru is interested in anybody except Laios. And he's only interested in Laios because he wants to, like, dissect him. Right? And she's like, oh, isn't he the guy who's part of... I like that there's just harpies flopping everywhere while she's like, why are they here? And so she's like, well, should we explain what the situation was? That the loot was just treasure bugs and the food was drenched. And Chilchuck's like, we don't want them to know it was us. They already know. So it's, I'm glad that the parties are kind of on the same page. And they're like, well, Shiro's angry, but that's not a concern. He's just ticked off because Falin's in danger. And Chilchuck's like, I'm not sure about everybody else. Chilchuck's like, I trust that Shiro ain't going to mention anything because he doesn't want to get Falin in trouble. But, how much evidence was left of you using the black magic? And so Marcel said, well, the magic circle was erased by the cleaners, which is good. Because that was the one thing I was like, y'all didn't erase any magic. But if they check Falin's body and her staff and put 2 and 2 together, then we're screwed. So Chilchuck's like, well, just get rid of the staff. But I don't blame Marcel for not wanting to get rid of her staff because it took her so long to make it. And she's like, this is custom. You can't just get rid of custom. So I wonder if there's a way to purify it. I wonder if there's a way to purify her staff to get the evidence away, to get rid of it so that you can't trace it. I don't know. I wonder if there's a way to do that. I guess if you could control the magician, you could get it to where the evidence would be taken away. But yeah, so then at the 5-minute mark, everything goes off the rails once like Benici or whatever ends up dying. And then we see Falin shows up with the other harpies. Now the problem is Falin, we finally get confirmation. I love that Laios thinks that she looks really cool. Laios is like, she looks so freaking cool. I love that. They're all freaked out because they're like, shit, what happened? And Shuro is like, when did my crush become a chicken dragon? And Kabru's like, what's going on? But when Laios steps forward and he goes, it can't be. It's so cool. I love that Laios doesn't judge Falin for transforming into this giant chicken dragon. Instead, he talks about how cool she looks, which is so on point for Laios. But that's a brother for you. That's a brother's love. He's like, I couldn't be mad at my sister because she's a chicken dragon, because look at her. She looks so cool. I love that about Laios. Yeah, everybody else is kind of horrified. Like, how'd she turn into this giant chimera? What just happened? So we get confirmation that Falin is, her soul is tied to the dragon. And because it's tied to the dragon, it is being controlled by the magician. Falin's still in there, I feel, because when she has that brief moment where she gets Laios to drop his damn sword because she calls him his brother, and that was the only moment it took. But we're going to talk about that scene because Laios snaps back out of it. So I think her soul is stuck down in there, but right now it's being controlled by the magician, which is heartbreaking because we're like, it's not even a matter of, we don't even get. Also, the moment Falin was a prodigy in magic, I thought to myself, if the magician controls her, that might be a very bad thing. And it's a very bad thing because she just kills everybody. She just kills everyone. It's a massacre. I like that since she held the plate of miso soup and the onigiri for as long as he could. And so Shuro originally tells Tade to just try to restrain her, but it's a bloodbath. Everyone is just, and Falin, like, when she drops down, her, like, boobs shake and she has this, like, serene look on her. Falin is terrifying. She is terrifying. I love her to pieces, but she is scary when she's not on your side. And so a part of me, I like that if we talk about strategy, Kabru was protecting the one gnome mage because he was the one that could resurrect everybody. He's the one that could resurrect everyone, and he had the Undine. So Kabru was on it. Kabru was thinking strategy the moment this battle started. Kabru was like, oh no, we need you to resurrect everybody because we're probably all gonna die, and we need you to have the Undine and try to stop her. Like, Kabru goes into, when those blue, beautiful, piercing eyes go into murder mode, he, like, shuts off all friendships, shuts off all emotions, and he goes into, like, super Winter Soldier assassin mode. And that was needed in this moment, because as long as Falin is not herself and controlled by the magician, she's basically a boss. Like a dungeon boss battle. And that is heartbreaking and terrifying. But yeah, so we find out that Falin, when she's being controlled by the mage, by the magician, is not good. I can't believe they bottled up an Undine. Whenever Marcel was like, where'd you get that Undine? And she's like, are you controlling that? And he's like, I just put it in the bottle. He's like, I'm not really controlling it. And Marcel tries to explain, saying that Falin is just confused. Kabru's having none of it. Kabru is having none of it. Kabru is like, oh no, I don't think she's confused. She's being controlled and she's trying to kill us all. So Kabru getting pissed was amazing. And his expression when he gets pissed, I was like, the Bill Hader meme where he's like, I am terrified and aroused. I was like, oh, hi, sir. So Kabru is just like, no emotional baggage. I think that's one of Kabru's benefits as a character, is that he is able to emotionally detach himself from everyone, so he can put all of that aside and fight someone no matter who's. He does things because they strategically need to be done. And Laios does that to a point, but Falin is the one exception because that's his sister. So again, I want to know Kabru's backstory, but we're not there yet. And he's like, oh, give me a break. No. He says, you don't care how many people die if you can protect someone dear to you. Is that it? Like, Kabru's like, I'm going to read you like a manga, bitch. And what's interesting is that we have this mentality of the saving of one versus saving of multiple. Kabru seems to be in the camp of we need to save as many people as possible. He's from the Pixis school of strategy, where he's like, we need to save as many people as possible. This one woman doesn't mean anything in comparison to everybody else. Whereas Marcel and Laios are kind of like, we're cool with everybody else dying as long as Falin's okay. And it's the trolley problem. And I think that because Kabru is not particularly close to anyone and he's emotionally shut himself off of having feelings towards other people, he's just here for the gossip. I think because he can do that, it's very easy for him to say, oh, you just would sacrifice all of us to save just her. And he throws it at her like an insult, which, yeah, that sucks. If I was not the one being saved, I'd kind of feel bad about that too. But then, Laios and Marcel have such a close relationship with Falin. They're like, well, we're not here to kill everybody, but we don't want to kill her. So it does make a difference how emotionally invested you are in the one person versus the many. That makes a very big difference. And I would be interested to know as we move forward in the series if Kabru gets attached to, say, Laios and doesn't let him get killed, especially since Laios technically saved his life. We'll get into that in just a hot second. But I feel like Kabru could get attached to somebody, and then it's a question of, are you going to go back to what you just told Marcel in this moment? So he says, that thing isn't Falin. I love him pointing, and then he says, it's just a monster. Now, I don't think it's just a monster because it can use the magic that Falin has learned, which I feel like, that's connected to Falin's soul just a wee bit. The fact that it knows magic like that. Falin is the most dangerous thing the magician could have gotten a hold of, which is terrifying. Oh, I like that the gnome named the Undine Merlier. Oh my God. Also, I want to point out real quick that when Kabru takes the armor off, he has khakis and a black turtleneck. He's literally wearing the light Yagami fall collection. He's literally wearing like IT intern. I live for it. I live that when he takes the armor off, he looks kind of a little bit dorky, but in like a really cute way. I love Kabru so much. He may be my favorite. I'm sad that he's gone. I want him to show up before this season ends, but I don't know if he will or not. Ugh, at least not with Laios and them. Boo! So it can cast spells. Well, that's because it's a person. It's being controlled by a magician. Poor Kobold. Kobold gets taken out as well. Rough times. I loved that Chilchuck and like took McBell and put it under Senshi's little poor McBell. McBell was like, no, Kuro! And Chilchuck's like, shut up, we can't do anything against this. I love Chilchuck took Senshi's pot and put it over McBell and them. Bless. That was so good for Chilchuck. Good job, Chilchuck. But yeah, and then Laios is like, what do we do? Now here's the thing. Laios facing Falin in that moment. I loved that Reen tried to zap Falin, which kind of worked for a hot second. And then as Laios is figuring out what to do, Senshi's monologue about monsters being dangerous and to not trust a monster. And so then Laios is like, I wish it could have been me. I wish I'd switched places with you. And Laios looked like he was going to attack Falin for a hot second because it was what needed to be done. But then she, like, for a second comes back. Her eyes change from having the slits to being normal. And she says, Big Brother. And Laios drops the sword. And Kabru takes the moment of Laios' weakness to the advantage. And dear God, like, does everything to destroy her. I was not ready. I was not ready for him to slash. He slit her throat. And of course, Shuro and Laios are like, oh shit. But he's like, no, he slit her throat. He stabbed the lungs, the kidney, her heart. Yeah, he did everything that needed to happen to try to kill her, and it did not work. It did not stop her, which was a bad thing. And then she smacked him down and like stepped on him and killed him and like pierced him. Now, before he gets the chance, he says he's going to die, but then Laios steps in to save him and stabs her foot and tries to get him to where he can stand. I was like, oh my God. Because Laios knows, I think at this point, as Laios tells him later, she was stabbed and had her neck slit and nothing happened. So either there is some either the magician has put a spell upon her to where it's, them stabbing the spots isn't going to make a difference. But then he talks later about how chimeras can shift around where their body parts are. It reminded me of, well, a little bit like Attack on Titan, but y'all know what I'm talking about in that plot line where things that are vital parts can move around the body in certain forms. I'm just saying. But the idea of the chimera that they can shift their organs to other parts of their body, making it to where they're not as easy to kill. Laios helping Kabru up, though, is like shipper territory. And then Laios says, I'm sorry, I hesitated. You're right. My sister's soul is probably under the control of the Lord of the Dungeon right now. If we kill her, the lunatic magician. I love that Laios shows in this moment to Kabru that he is capable of being a strategic thinker. Because so far, Kabru has wondered if he's kind of dense or kind of just monster obsessed and doesn't have any other ability to think critically in the moment. And Laios proves to him that yes, he does. He's like, it takes me a second. Laios is like, it takes me a second to get caught up with y'all. But once I'm caught up, then my gears are going full throttle. And he's like, look, I know that her soul is probably chained to the dungeon and the magician is controlling her. But if we kill her right now, that magician's going to show up and wreck our shit. And that's going to be a bad thing because we're not ready for that. So I like that he's telling Kabru this, saying for now we need to just get out of here. I love that Kabru is able to hear Laios telling him that, because to me, that tells me that Kabru is going to be able to work with Laios later on and feel confident in doing so. And he knows now that Laios is not afraid to kill his sister if necessary, or to incapacitate her in that form if necessary, right? But we'll get onto that more, so. But unfortunately, Laios gets shoved aside and Kabru gets freaking mauled, which sucks as well. But yeah. And so then, I like when Falin rips the shirt off and Shuro and Marcel are like, of course, Shuro is like about to like have a nosebleed and die, and Marcel's like, hey, now wait a minute. That part was really good. Of course, it's the two of them that have the reaction. So yeah, why not? Why would get that? I mean, that shirt needed to probably come off at some point. It was looking a little ridiculous. But yeah, it does definitely make Falin look like a monstrous harpy dragon at this point. And Marcel recognizes the spell that she's about to use and is like, we need to get protected before we get skewered. Good on Marcel for saving them. I like this entire time since she has not dropped the plate of food. Since she's like, we're not going to waste any bit of food, madame and sirs, because we're going to need this when all this is over. And then she like just escapes like a damn dinosaur off the side of the cliff. Good job for the gnome. What's his name? Holm. Good job for him. And immediately he resurrects Kabru, which got like a stake to the face. Yikes. And I like the Holm tells him, he's like, oh, don't worry. We're fine. She bolted. We're all good now. Of course he resurrects Kabru first because Kabru is the strategist. And he's like, I want you to resurrect that woman. Again, Kabru's strength is that he looks at people. He watches people. He understands that he sees what their strengths are and what they can do. So he knows that the woman in Shuro's party, is it Maizuru, that she can go in as a mage and use resurrection magic. So Marcel offers to use resurrection magic, but everybody's like, nope, you resurrecting everyone is out of the question. All you know is ancient black magic, so just heal people and we'll be fine. Now, Shuro's saying that they're going to turn her in. They're going to turn her into the elves. And she says, look, it wasn't my magic spell that necessarily is causing all of this, but if the dragons... I like that she says, look, so what could have happened is it's possible that the red dragon's soul was under some kind of spell, which it was, and then Falin's soul merged with the dragon's and the lunatic magician transformed her into that creature, which is exactly what has happened. She's like, so... And then he's like, I'm handing Marcel over to the elves of the West. Now, I feel kind of bad because I get what Shuro's trying to do and he's following the martial law of things, but I was like, I don't want Marcel to get handed over to the elves. And I like Laios saying, you know, there's another way. And Shiro says, well, are you going to keep resurrecting her? He's like, are you going to keep resurrecting her and adding other monster parts as well until she's back to normal? And it's like, well, you could. You've already got a chicken and a dragon underway. Why not add more? But I like Laios. Like, look, we're just trying to save her because we care about her. And Shiro's like, tell me what you're going to do. And Marcel doesn't know, but you have an idea, so tell me. And I like that Kabru's like, wait, I want to listen. he tells Helm, he's like, hold on, Helm. I'm listening to this gossip. This is going down. And then Laios is like, okay, I do have a plan. He's like, yes. He's like, we're going to defeat the magician. Now, Kabru does not like the magician. Kabru would like for the magician to be defeated. He's kind of on the same wavelength with that idea. And Laios has needed a purpose. And rescuing Falin is now tied to defeating the magician. So, which is kind of connected to what Kabru wants. The only thing about that is that Kabru does not seem to think that Laios is someone who should be Lord of the Dungeon. He says, if he is Laios fit to be in charge of the dungeon? And if not, then what's going to happen? Because the problem is, I think Kabru appreciates Laios' sincerity, and I think Kabru appreciates Laios' like raw intuition and his conviction. But I think that Kabru is very nervous because Laios, as we've talked in previous episodes in this one, is not really great with interpersonal communication. So the idea of if he inherits the lunatic magician's like spell book, for example, that has all the spells, what's he going to do with it? He's just going to hand it over to Marcel and be like, here you go, friend. And she's like, or, you know, are people going to fight Laios for it? Kabru always seems to be thinking 20 steps ahead as to what the outcomes of things are going to be and what's going to lead to those outcomes. Laios is very in the moment, but I have this goal, but I'm still in the moment with it. So they are different as far as that goes. But he's like, we're going to defeat the magician. The red dragon was following orders. So who else but the magician created this dungeon could command it? He's like, we'll take down the magician and rewrite the orders. And he's like, I'm not familiar with that sort of thing, but Marcel should know how. So basically the in-laws, Laios and his future sister-in-law are going to team up to go rescue Falin. And then he's like, well, Marcel knows dark magic. We'll have her rewrite the laws. She's an impartial person. She's got a good eye. She'll be great. And meanwhile, Kabru is in the back going, oh, wait, what are we setting in motion? You two are going to rewrite the rules? He's like, that's why I won't let you take her. And so Laios is like, you can't take Marcel away to the elves. He's like, because I need her to take charge of the magician's magic once we defeat him. However that goes. Like, we didn't really ask Marcel if she was ready for that. And so then Shiro says, are you going to use black magic to fix a problem caused by black magic? Well, no, Laios didn't say that. He didn't say he was going to use black magic to solve this problem. He just said they were going to defeat the magician. You know. Why don't you start taking things seriously? I love that Laios slapped him because I'm like, we know as the audience that Laios takes his sister very seriously. And he's literally lost a leg in the process of rescuing her. They've literally died. They've literally been through hell and back to go rescue her. So he's like, don't tell me I'm not being serious. He's like, just because I'm not as stoic as you are. He's like, don't say that I'm not. Mm-hmm. I love that all of them are so shocked, even Kabru. And since she still is holding the plate of food. Yes. And so they just punch each other. It just becomes a punching match. Which, good for Shiro to get that out of his system. And good for Laios for standing up for himself. I mean, and Laios does make a point of saying, look, I'm not the most skilled. And you're stronger than most adventurers. But here's what I do know. He's like, I am serious and I've been taking care of myself. I've been eating 3 square meals a day. You haven't been doing it. You've been sitting there wallowing in your ennui. And he's like, I'm more serious than you based on the care that I'm taking of my body. He's like, we're going to take down the magician and rescue Falin. So you can go back to the surface and eat, bathe, and rest. And we'll take care of it down here. I don't know exactly what Shuro was mumbling before he said shut up, though. I think he just wanted to get Laios close enough to punch him. He's like, well, if that's your plan, I have one of my own. And then he tells him that what he's going to do is, for a long time now, he said, I couldn't stand your guts because I thought you were thoughtless and dense. He's like, and so we see from his perspective, Laios being like, tell me more about the foreign lands. And Cheryl's like, I don't want to talk to him anymore, which is so sad because Laios is just being sweet and kind. And it's like, I appreciated Laios sticking up for himself when Laios was like, if you had a problem with me asking you things, and if you didn't want me to be around you and Falin, you should have spoke up and said something. And I would have taken the hint. And I know Shuro says that he's like, well, I was giving you hints that anybody should have gotten. But to be fair to Laios, sometimes people just don't pick up social cues as well. And sometimes it's better to just be blunt and say, hey, I want some time to myself. Is that cool? And it seems like it might be rude, but I do agree with Laios where he's like, you should have just said something and established a boundary and I would have listened. But I was too excited to talk to you to like not get what you're trying to say. It felt very much like I loved Laios defending himself because seeing things from Shuro's perspective versus Laios's perspective, I don't know if the mangaka has said whether Laios is neurodivergent or not, but it did feel like a very, like if you are neurodivergent, you're like, sometimes I don't get the social cues of what you're trying to tell me. So you have to be specific and speak up. And I work with a couple students right now who, you know, are neurodivergent and they're like, I just need you to be very blunt and just say what you need. And if you can, then that gets it across, right? Because sometimes subtle communication and nuance, it's different for everybody. So I appreciated that Laios stood up for himself in that moment. But yeah, Shuro was trying to be by himself with Falin. I was like, dude. And then Laios was like, well, you should have told me sooner. If you couldn't stand me and thought I was dense and had terrible timing, you should have said something. And so then they hash it out, as one would expect. And Marcel's like, can we move on? And so then they just start resurrecting everybody. And, you know, Marcel's just made to heal. I love when the one woman tells her, like, you can heal, and her little ears perk up, and she's like, oh, she looked like Yoda in that moment. She looked like Yoda with her ears perking up, like, oh, she looked like Empire Strikes Back. It was so cute. It was adorable. I liked Tade helping her. Poor McBell and Chilchuck. I liked that. When Reen hugs Kabru, I very much feel like, to me, Reen and Kabru have the same relationship that Laios and Marcel have, where it's like a platonic mage and tall man relationship. I guess Kabru is a tall man. I guess. We have not been led to believe otherwise yet. But I like that Reen and Kabru, like, she hugs him and he's just like, they're there. He's like, it's fine. But, and then when the kobold gets revived and McBell's baiting on his chest, it's so cute. And so Laios is like, this is why I'm stronger. And Shinji's like, let's eat something now. Let's get down to it. I do love that Shuro and Laios kind of hacked it out with one another. And that's when he's like, no, I need you to prepare the return magic. And okay, to her credit, she did say Asebi is still missing. And they said she's probably ran off, let her be. So I guess they just thought that Asebi would be a flake. Well, that's sad. I feel for Asebi. And they're all like, please forgive our inadequacy. And Shuro's like, no, you guys were great. You did your best. And he actually acts like a really nice guy in that moment and thanks them. And they're all like, okay, the young master's all being all cordial and everything. All right. So then he tells Laios this, that he's going back to his homeland. And he's not coming back to the island. I have thoughts about this, saying he's going to report what happened to the Lord of the Island. And Laios is like, well, you're going to tell my... I don't know if the Lord of the Island is their dad or not. I guess we'll find out, but he's like, okay. So he doesn't really say anything against that, so I don't know if that's the case or not. I guess we'll find out. But he's like, I wish I could have returned with Falin. So, to me, and I feel for Shuro, and I know why he's leaving, and I know why he's going back, and I know that he's also potentially having a way for Laios and them to escape. He's like, if I go back to where I'm from, I can hide out, and if you ring this bell, if you need me to come get you, and I will. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And I know why he's leaving. But there is a part of me, the little tiny would-be shipper part of me, that is like, there's the phrase, if you love her, let her go. And he's letting her go. But my thing is, if you really loved her, if he really, really, really loved her, he would probably have stayed and found a way to help them. And maybe he's going to do that from afar. Maybe from the east, he's going to get reinforcements and get stronger and end up doing that as well. And it'll be like a third, like an 11th hour thing where he swoops in to help them with the others. And it's this big ordeal. Maybe that will happen. But I just feel like Marcel is going the distance, shipping wise, to be with Falin. Like, she doesn't care about her being a chicken woman. She wants to help her. She wants to help out. And Shiro's kind of like throwing in the towel. It's just kind of how it reads to me. But again, he could come in the 11th hour like a knight in shining armor to protect her. But I'd be like, Marcel's been in the trenches this whole time, bitch. So, I don't know. So, he doesn't know what her answer to his proposal was. She needed more time to think about it. And I was waiting for her answer. Here's the thing. As she's looking at the caterpillar. She looks so pretty there. Where she's like holding the caterpillar. She looks so mysterious and pretty. And he's like staring at her from afar. Here's my thing. If you ever propose to a woman and she tells you she needs to think about it, 8 times out of 10, the answer is going to be no. You know, if she didn't blush and go, oh, we have another mission to solve. If she goes, I need to think about it, that's her polite way of telling you no. And just her like passive aggressively not being like, oh, I need to think about it a little bit and then I'll get back to you. I'll call you. Like, yeah, that was a no. That was a no-go. That was her being like, how do I politely turn him down in the moment without him leaving the party? That is how that reads to me, right? It would have been different. It would have been different if he had proposed to her and then a battle broke out and she didn't have a chance to respond. That would have felt different. But the fact that he proposed to her and she was like, oh, I'll get back to you. I'll text you a reply. It's like, she was going to tell you no, sir. But he's like, there's no more woman fascinating than her. I loved her voice and the way she thought. As she's sitting there about to pluck that caterpillar apart, y'all. The way she thought. And her smile. I feel like the things he talks about that he loves about her, like her smile and her voice. And I mean, the way she thought is more than surface level. But I feel like the things he describes of her are like a crush. Like the things that are immediate that he likes about her. Whereas again, and I'm being a staunch Marcel Falin defender, I feel like Marcel kind of has been in the trenches with her more. If that makes sense. Interestingly enough. But yeah, he's like, I never brought any of this up with her. And I feel like this is a lesson for Shiro. Shiro kind of learns in this episode that he probably needs to say some of those things. Like, what's that song? Say what you need to say. You know, because Laios informs him, he's like, I wish you would have told me all of these things and we probably could have resolved this a lot sooner. And I think Shiro's realized, he's like, I didn't bring any of this up with her and I probably should have. I wish I'd told her sooner. And I love Mick Bell and Chilchuck's interlude commentary where Mick Bell's like, wait, he popped the question out of nowhere without even talking to her? What is this, a Disney movie? I love Chilchuck. Chilchuck, she's like, that's scary. And Chilchuck's like, well, where he comes from, that's normal. I love that Chilchuck's like, it's a cultural thing. But I do love Mick Bell saying, proposing to someone that you haven't even told that you liked? Weird. I love it. I love that commentary. That is amazing. He's like, well then I like Laios is like, I'll pass on your words to Falin. And Shiro's like, and the thing is, he can't hate Laios. He envies him because even after everything, Laios is still a good person. And he's still sweet. And he's like, damn it, son of a bitch. So then Kabru gets ready. Kabru puts his armor back on over his turtleneck, his Light Yagami Fall Collection special, and I like the little rips that he has. And he's like, oh, Kabru, you were a big help. And Kabru's like, I love that little glance where he's like, how do I respond to this? Because he's like, oh, well, I didn't do much, and my attack was useless. And then that's when Lio says, no, it helped me notice some things. So then he explains to Kabru that the places you stabbed would have been fatal to a human, but not for my sister. That means either she doesn't have vital organs there or she has them more somewhere else. And I like that, again, Laios remembers exactly where Kabru stabbed her, and where she was hit, which is so morbid and crazy. He's like, a bunch of monsters like the Basilisk, Cerebrus, and Scylla have multiple brains. So, you can't just kill, it's pretty common in chimera types. I love that Laios is standing here with like his face beaten up, talking to Kabru about his sister's vital organs shifting around to other places because she's a chimera, like it's the most common thing in the world. And Kabru's like, you're so fascinating. And then, yeah, because Kabru's like, his pupils are dilated. He really loves monsters. I love that Kabru's like, huh. Kabru's like, what kind of kinks does he have? His knowledge is his weapon. He says he'll defeat the lunatic. I love when Kabru gets so serious and those eyes are just piercing. There are plenty of adventurers more skilled than him, but none with his level of knowledge and motivation. Motivation's a big thing. He's like, he could pull it off. But I like Kabru with the sweat drop coming down. Like, if he does pull it off and he does defeat the Lord of the Dungeon, what is he going to do with that power that he could possibly gain? You know, what if it means becoming the next Lord of the Dungeon? Which I cannot see Laios as Lord of the Dungeon. I just can't, right? And so Kabru's like, is he going to seal off the dungeon? Is he this city built by black magic with all of its monsters? If he inherits them, would he quietly seal it? Or, here's the scary thing, Laios being a lover of monsters, would Laios seal off the dungeon with all these monsters in it? Or would he become Lord of the Monsters and continue the dungeon? Oh, that's a great question. We don't know. We don't know the answers to these questions. And then Laios is like, oh, are you talking about scary, ominous possible futures? Do you want some food instead? And Kabru's like, what? I love that Kabru cannot get a good read off of him. So yeah. So they crack open the harpy egg to make the omelet, and Kabru's like, I'm not eating that. I love that he's like, I don't want to eat this. And him thinking of the harpy. I love that Kabru, instead of just saying no, like a normal freaking person, is like, do I kill him now? Just say no! I love his options are, do I eat it or do I kill him? Like, you could just say no or deflect, Kabru. What are you doing? You don't immediately have to destroy him. So, okay, we see the monsters in these trees. We see these monsters coming out of caves and attacking. We see these fires. Okay, there is stuff there that is related to, I think, Kabru's past. We need to go back through there. So he immediately thinks of a monster coming out of a tree, right? And then he thinks of, it looks like his people getting chased by monsters out of a cave. And I say his people because they all have the same dark hair like him and darker skin tones. And then he sees them on fire from, oh, okay. Okay. So we see this image of Kabru as a kid being held back by what I'm assuming are elves, because one of them has a staff that looks like Marcel's, him being held back as possibly his fellow people are being lit on fire. Did we just witness like a montage of a genocide from Kabru's perspective about this harpy egg? Was Kabru raised by elves? I want to know. I want to know these situations. I want to know. I want to know more. And then we see these dogs. Oh my God, are these dogs eating his mother? What? What is happening? What? What? And then we see these monsters with the elves. So then it looks like these minotaurs with the elves that maybe took Kabru Why did we get his backstory in a montage with no explanation? Show! What? They're not going to explain that to us, are they? They're going to make us wait on that, aren't they? How dare they? Son of a bitch. Meanwhile, Elias is like, it's an omelet. He's like, I'd rather die than eat something from a monster. And he's like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? I love that he's like, maybe I have no choice but to kill him now. I just love that Kabru would rather than say no to Laios, rather than say no to his sweet golden retriever face, the options of killing him are on the table. Mother trucker, what? Oh my God, this man. And he's like, but not now. He's like, I can't kill him yet. I'll try one. And I love that they're all like, yeah. I love Cobalt in the background. It's like, I would eat that. Cobalt's like, I'll have the harpy eggs. And they're all like, yeah, typical Kabru. He'll do anything to win over someone's favor. I don't know. His options were killing him or approving of whatever he asked. His eyes look so distant as he's eating it. They're like, what a nice guy. No, not what a nice guy. Kabru is not a nice guy. Kabru is terrifying and potentially not a very nice person. Yeah, I love that poor Marcel is like, Chilchuck's like, we're not having the harpy egg. We just dealt with all this. No. And since she's like, are you sure you don't want any more? Meanwhile, I love Tade eating all the rice. I'd be there too. And then they're tossing the rice balls around. Oh, poor Holm with their Undine water bottle. Their canteen for their Undine that's lost. Kabru's just like sweating it out. And Reen's like, do you want any more rice to like drown out the taste? Bless. So they draw a portal to do the return magic. I wish she would have stuck around. She was a good mage. No one's injured beyond the surface. If you die there, we can't bring you back once you get to the surface. So they're like, if you have any injuries, now's the time. And so Shiro's like, you're probably going to die. And Laios is like, wouldn't be the first time. We'll be fine if you manage to survive, but can't make it back to the surface because of black magic, then ring the bell. So basically they're like, if you end up resurrecting yourself using black magic, or you use magic to, what if Laios and all them became like chicken dragons? Probably not. But he's like, if you ever get to the point where, things get crazy, ring this bell and I'll come and get you. And I'll come save you all and you can leave the island and flee to the east with us. I definitely think that's going to come back. I definitely think that's going to come back by the end of the series, for sure. And that's going to be a thing. And I love Shiro saying, don't die. And Laios is like, I'll do my best. No promises. No take backsies. Laios getting the two handshake from Kabru. Kabru's really laying it on thick, right? Laying it on thick after that harpy omelet. The height difference, y'all. I can't take the height difference. It's too good. He's like, oh, the highlight of the trip was me chatting with you. The highlight of these last 2 episodes have been that for me, honestly. And then Laios like, the pleasure is mine. And then they're like, hurry up. He says, you remember my name now, right? He's like, well, of course I do. You're Kabru. He says, of course. Good. And he sits there on the windowsill, lounging back, being like, don't forget next time what my name is. Excuse me, sir? I love that he's trying to be somewhat seductive in this moment with Laios, and it just, over the head. Over the head it goes. He's like, I'll see you. And Laios is like, next time. Who? What? What? He's like, was this important? And so like, there's no turning back. Chilchuck's like, I love Chilchuck gnawing on his thumbnail like, I knew this was going to happen. We're going to end up by ourselves. And poor Marcel. Marcel's like, I'm sorry, guys. I feel for Marcel. They're like, it'll all work out somehow. I feel for Marcel because, girl, I've talked for an hour about this episode. And we still have cooking to do. I feel for Marcel because she just wanted to bring back someone she loved. And now it's caused all of this drama. All of this drama. But damn, Falin. Falin is terrifying. it's not just rescuing Falin, they're gonna have to fight Falin. And that is such a twist from where I thought we were starting this series. And now we're here and I'm like, So I'm sad that Kabru is already gone. He was only here for a few episodes, but he was so fun. I cannot wait to see him again. I'm terrified about these elves coming over, but I want to know more of Kabru's background. But I feel like we're probably not going to get that till season 2. Anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion, but we've still got some cooking to do for our second half of the cooking recipes from last week. We're not going to make an omelet. We're not going to make an omelet because, you know, that's pretty basic. We've already kind of made omelets and eggs, worked with eggs before, but we are going to continue where we left off from episode 16's 2 recipes and do the other half for those. So if you're sticking around, check that out. But if not, episode 18 seems like it's going to be a crazy time. But anyway, we need to go back to the kitchen and finish up making our post Harpie now meal with everybody. Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. So we are on part 2 of our cooking adventures, and this week my brother is not able to join me, so I'm going to be going solo on this, although I do have Huckleberry and Ruby here, so there's that. But we are going to be doing the second part of episode 16's cooking. Last week we made onigiri, which was a good trial and error. But this week we're going to be doing something a little bit more non-traditional. And also, speaking of non-traditional, I don't really have a recipe for this week. We're going to be going basically based off of what Cinchi did in the episode. And yeah, it's probably a good thing my brother's not here because he probably would stroke out. But to be honest, I tried to find several different recipes on how to do the cockatrice, the casserole dishes and everything, and I found so many different recipes. There were so many different recipes about the sauce, about the egg sauce. There were so many different recipes about how to do the meat with the mandrake leaves and the dryad fruits. There were probably 6 or 7 different recipes that were vastly different from each other on how to do this. I think the only thing that was consistent with all of them is that barley was the grain to use. That was like the only consistency. Everything else was like, well, you can make it this way or you can make it that way. And I was like, So I decided to just go back to the episode, see how Cinchi did it, and try to replicate that as best as we can. And we'll see how that works. All of them, though, point to the fact that your items are pretty much cooked when you start. So you just cook each layer and make each layer, and then you just put them all together. So there's not really, so there's not really any extra cooking element once you get each part done. You just combine them all together and voila. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. So the first thing we're going to do is we have our barley, which I just used. This was the only box of barley in my grocery store in the local town. Hashtag rural problems. I'm not joking, this was the only box of barley. There was no like generic barley, nothing. It was just this quick instant barley. That's all we had. But we're gonna be using it because it seems pretty legit and seems simple to make. So it seems like it's gonna cook up just like our rice. I know, buddy boy. But he wants me to play with him right now, which is not the apt time, Huckleberry. Then what we're going to do after that, while I kick this toy around, is that we need to look at the egg sauce. Now the egg sauce, there was a lot of different recipes that you could use for it. And the one that I found involved rice vinegar, which I already had. You guys are about to go outside. But the rice vinegar that I already had, so we can use that. And then this, I did have to order this online because our grocery store did not have mirin. Now mirin is different than rice vinegar. This is rice wine. And so this is used in cooking. And so I did have to order this one online because it was not found in the local group. I thought it would be in the international section or the Asian section of the grocery store. No such luck. So I did order this one online. We've got the rice vinegar, as well as some salt. And then the most expensive thing on the menu, the eggs. I'm joking. But yeah, it does call for 2 eggs. So the sauce we're making involves 2 eggs, the rice vinegar, the rice wine, a little pinch of salt, and some water, and we're going to whisk it together and make kind of the way that it sounded from the website, which I went to cookingandrink.org to find the recipe that I'm going to be using. It sounded like a hollandaise sauce, which I've never made hollandaise sauce, but it is a little bit different than how it looks. The picture of it looks a little different than what Cinchi makes in the episode, but it seems like it's going to be pretty good. So we're going to go with it. Anyway, and then we have what's going to go on top of the barley and under the egg sauce, which, Huckleberry, is going to be our cockatrice. We've used chicken in the past. The recipe, and as Cincy does it in the episode, calls it for it to be ground up anyway. So I just went ahead and got some ground turkey. We're going to try turkey this week because it's a little bit leaner, a little bit healthier. So we're going to be doing turkey. And then for the dryad, I didn't want to use pumpkin or gourd because that's just not me. I really like sweet potatoes. So I thought we're going to cut up a sweet potato and cube it. It's got a sweetness kind of like pumpkin. It has a similar consistency. So we're going to be doing that with that. And then we're going to put some minced garlic in with the turkey to give it a little extra flavor because sometimes turkey can be bland. We're going to do that. And then as far as the medicinal or the herbs that they talk about in there, I went and found some actual alfalfa, broccoli, and kale sprouts. So we're going to be cooking up some sprouts with that to give it a little extra texture. That seemed like it would be good. And then for the mandrake leaves, if I really wanted to be ambitious, at the grocery store, the item that looks most similar to mandrake leaves are collard greens. And I thought about collard greens for a while, but I've never cooked with collard greens before. And I was like, I don't know if I want to try it and it just turn out, because I don't know if I'll like the taste. And then kale was another option. I'm okay with kale. Some people like kale, some people don't like kale. I'm okay with kale, it's fine. I don't know if I would like collard greens or not. I was like, So I decided to go with the safe alternative, and that was just to get some spinach from the grocery store that we could chop up some of the spinach leaves. They kind of look like mandrakes. We'll do that. So we're gonna chop up some of the spinach leaves, and I know I like the taste of spinach even when it's cooked. Cooked spinach is still good. Sometimes when you put leafy vegetables into cook and they wilt, they taste weird or they lose the taste and they're not as appetizing. I liked cooked spinach and I like fresh spinach. So this was a safe option because I know it's something that I'm going to enjoy and I'm not gonna waste, to get this. And whatever spinach I don't use, I can chop up and make a salad. So we're just gonna do that. So yeah, and then I have my little tin that we're gonna put it all in. I can put a lid over this and save it for extras. So we've got that. So we're gonna be doing this and package it. Unfortunately, I could not get a tin that I could eat, but do what we can. So we're gonna try to be as wasteless as possible and go ahead and make this dish and see how it goes. So the first thing that we've done is went ahead and poured 2 cups of water into this medium saucepan, and I'm gonna put a little dash of salt in there as well, and then just kind of let it go until it gets, I'm going to turn up the heat just a cranky bit till we get it to a boil, and then we're going to put in our barley. This is a cup in my little R2D2 cup here, a cup of barley, which it's so weird because the cattle that I raise on our farm, sometimes if we're showing them, we will give them barley because it's weird. Like if you feed cattle corn, the fat on the cow will spread out weird, but barley spreads smooth. It's bizarre. But we're gonna put that barley into the water here and kind of let it, you're supposed to get it to a boil, kind of like what we did with our rice last week, and then you immediately lower it down to low and let it kind of just fluff up for a good solid 10 to 12 minutes. And while we're doing that, we will get to cooking our turkey. All right, so I've just poured in the barley and I'm letting it to stir in there. It's gotten up to a boil, so we're going to drop that down. Now that it's boiling, we're going to drop it down to a low. Now it's boiling, and while it's making essentially a porridge, we're going to put that over it for about 12 minutes. Meanwhile, I've taken some sprouts out and put in the bottom here, and I'm going to take a knife, cut up some of this spinach, peel our sweet potato, and get it cubed up and put in here ready to cook with the turkey when we get all that going. So the barley has bugged me a little bit because I've turned it down to low, but it still is smoking and it won't stop smoking, and I think it's about done. But I don't want to burn it, but I wish it would not. It never quite simmered down, which is frustrating, but we're just going to take it off the heat now. My poor oven, my poor stovetop. And we're going to turn that off and be careful not to touch it because I think some of the barley has, some of the water seeped out and burnt over it, which is very tragic. It smells so bad. So, but we're gonna air it out here and turn a fan on. So while that's going on, I went ahead and I did a very shoddy job of peeling this sweet potato, but it was peeled. So that's the important part. And we're gonna turn this on. I'm gonna be very delicate this time around. And we're gonna turn this on to a nice 5, a decent 5. And we're gonna take some olive oil and prep and put some olive oil down just to get us started. And then while that is going on, we are gonna take our turkey and kind of grab it out of there. And we're gonna kind of let it get down in there and plop down in there. All right. And so from there, we're gonna grab this sucker and kind of mush it around in there and let it kind of soak around in that. All right. And while that is happening, set it there, we're going to put our sprouts over here out of the way, and then I'm going to take our, get a knife here, and we're going to cut off the end of the sweet potato. So I don't really want the ends in there. And if there's any bad parts, you want to cut those out as well. And so from there, we're going to actively go ahead and get our stuff ready. So we're going to cut this sweet potato down into chunks while that is heating up. I'm going to slice up the sweet potato first. And get that. I could probably make that a little bit thinner. Down there. Obviously, I washed the sweet potato off first because you definitely want to have a clean vegetable. And so, look at that. We did pre-rinse the sweet potatoes, unlike the rice. And so then I'm going to do basically just cubing into some cubes here. I don't mind a little bit of skin on my sweet potato. It's kind of like, you know, if you get a baked potato, sometimes the skin has some different nutrients in it and you want to keep that. So I'm fine with that. You probably don't need the entire sweet potato, but I'm going to go ahead and mix it all. I love sweet potato, so I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. I feel like Forrest Gump, when you ask like how you like sweet potatoes, I'm like, oh, I like sweet potato, stuffed sweet potato casserole, there's sweet potato coffee, you know, there's just all different varieties. Okay, so we're going to move that aside a little bit, cut these down into chunks. Again, the one thing that you want to make sure that you do, especially if you're cooking fruits and vegetables and meat together, is to always usually take care of the veggies first, because you don't want to cross-contaminate, and so then you can do the meat afterwards. So I'm going to get these down into chunks. I'm going to try to make them pretty uniform, but also some slightly smaller chunks, because they're going to that way cook a little bit easier, because I'm guessing when you put this and then in, they're going to kind of moisten up and be a little bit softer to the touch. All right, last one. I'm trying to keep my gross bits away from the good stuff. All right. I would like to imagine that since she would be happy that I'm doing this rogue, but also I don't know how I feel about it. All right, this one kind of has a funky part, so we're gonna leave it out. All right, and this one kind of has some of the eyes, so we're gonna cut the eyes out of a sweet potato. We don't necessarily want that. I'm just not big into the eyes. I don't see them, so we're gonna just cut them out. Okay, so we're gonna move. We're gonna move this around as it's heating up, the turkey. And I'm guessing the idea is that we want to get the turkey pretty cooked first, because you need that cooked, and then you put in, you know, your potatoes and your spinach in there with the sprouts to let them all kind of go. All right. I'm gonna roll around. That olive oil really got in there. All right, so we're gonna the trick is to be patient. I want to increase my heat, but I know that that's not good, because it's not gonna be what we want. We're gonna burn it if we do that. So what we're gonna do next is that we are actually going to, I might actually put these potatoes into here to dump in there because they're just sweet potatoes. They're not actually something that would give you salmonella. So we're gonna put these in here just for now. The curse of not having a very big kitchen space. So we're gonna put these in here just for now. That's quite a few potatoes. I feel like this might be more than this tin's worth, which if we have leftovers, we'll just throw from there. All right, and then with the mandrake leaves, since she cut off the stems, so we're gonna do the same. There weren't any stems on the mandrake leaves. Even though the stems can be some of the most nutrient-dense part, like with broccoli. All right, I didn't do a lot of spinach because I know it's gonna wilt, and I didn't want to necessarily have too much wilty spinach. So we're just going to take that and cut it to where it's just gonna kind of be an accent in with it, right? I'm just gonna chop that like so. It's kind of like telling yourself, you're like, oh yeah, this is going to have some vegetables in it, so it's good, you know? Which spinach does have some good properties. All right. That all seems pretty good to go there. We're going to add a little bit of minced garlic to this. As far as how much minced garlic, we're just going to do a kind of a rough estimate and just pop some in there. Not a whole lot because the recipe didn't originally call for it, but I love garlic, so I'm willing to go the distance with the garlic. And I'm going to kind of show you what all this is like, and then we're going to get on this sauce. That's the thing I'm terrified about the most. All right, let's see how this chicken and stuff is all looking up here. Okay, so while this turkey is cooking with the minced garlic in there, we've got our 2 eggs, a bowl we're going to whisk in, and then we have our mirin as well as our rice vinegar, and we have our mandrake leaves and dryad ready to pour in with the turkey or the cockatrice once it's done cooking. Okay, so this is when things are going to get interesting. With the sauce, I've put 3 tablespoons of water into this cup to kind of get everything together. Then what they want us to do is do a tablespoon and a half of the rice vinegar, which we're going to put here. So we do a tablespoon, and then I'm going to kind of guesstimate on half the tablespoon of that. And then I thought it was originally tablespoon, but it is actually a teaspoon. A teaspoon of the rice wine. So this rice wine won't last me a long time. I'm going to find other recipes to use with rice wine because a teaspoon is not very much. All right, just a teaspoon. All right. Then what they want us to do is, this is the part that I've never done before that I'm a little bit like, is you want to take 2 egg yolks, which means you don't want your egg whites. You want to separate them from that. And then from there, I'm actually going to use that. You're going to put the egg yolks in there. We're going to go ahead and transfer this to this bowl, because it's microwavable, and that will be important. The big thing is that once you get these in here, and I took a picture of the recipe on my phone, once you get them in there, you are going to whisk you're going to whisk the 2 egg yolks, added the rice vinegar and the mirin in the water, and whisk some more. So I guess they wanted us to whisk the egg yolks first. So we're going to put that back in there until they want us to whisk it in. So they want us to whisk the egg yolks first. So we're going to crack that. We're going to try to separate out the egg whites. I know there's a technique to doing this, and it's where you kind of put that in there, and then you separate out the egg white, and then you put it back. Look at that. Look at that. We're going to try to sift out that damn egg white. If there's a little bit of egg white, it probably won't hurt it too much. Egg yolk. All right. So messy. Messy. We're going to do that. Get that egg yolk, get the egg white out. You can do stuff with the egg white. Usually people want the egg whites more than the yolk, but for the sauce, that's not what we want. All right, handle that a couple times. Put that in there. All right. The next thing we're going to do is whisk these 2 together. Whisk them. And then what it said to do from there was to add in this. add in our concoction and whisk some more. Okay. So we're gonna add this in. I don't want to get egg yolk on my phone. So to whisk in there, now it says, here's the part that's a little bit more modern. What they want us to do is to transfer it to the microwave and give it 10 seconds. Remove it and then whisk well again and repeat. You will now feel the consistency changing. And if not, don't worry, repeat the step. And after 2 or 3 second, 10-second intervals, you will be ready to, it says, after about then you move to do 5 seconds on 30% power and whisk again, and you'll find your own way, and then the Kimmy or egg sauce will be ready. So, okay. All right, so this is whisked. We're going to try that method and come back and see what happens. Okay, so after doing the whole microwaving, it is starting to, I kind of stopped because I didn't want it to curdle, but it is starting to form like a sauce kind of consistency. I can definitely smell the rice vinegar, so I don't know how to feel about that, but it seems okay. I'm a little concerned about that sauce. We might not pour it over the top of it and use it as a dip instead. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, so our turkey has been slowly cooking. I think it is about ready to get some salt added to it. Huckleberry, being mean. Huckleberry, don't show your true colors on TV. Or the internet. All right, so I've got this cooking. It's still got a couple chunks in it so that aren't quite cooked, so I want to let that, make sure that it's all chopped up and ready to put in there. But I almost forgot about the sprouts. So the sprouts have been added. So we're just going to make sure this has, been on a decently low heat. So it's been slowly cooking. But the garlic is pretty much integrated in there at this point. And so what we're going to do is just let that cook just a second longer. The barley, checking on the barley, it looks pretty much done. So once we pour in the fruit or the sweet potatoes and the spinach, we'll probably put this barley into our pot ready to go and go from there. I want to check my phone and make sure that sauce, it looks like it does in the picture. The picture says whisk away, continue whisking, and cool slightly in a water bath. Oh, cool slightly in a water bath? Well, we're going to do that real quick. All right, so that's cooling in the water bath. My only fear is that this turkey seems maybe a little bit bland, so I am a little concerned about that, but I guess we could always add, I'm assuming that's what the egg sauce is for, but we could always add some other sauce to it, I guess, to make it have less bland qualities. All that looks pretty cooked, so I almost forgot about the sprouts. We added that in here as well. So we're going to take our potato chunks and add them to the mix. Okay, spread them around first. And then we're going to add in our spinach and our sprouts. And kind of get all that up in there. All right. And kind of spread all that around. And see if we get some cooking going. My thing is that the sweet potato is going to have to cook a little wee bit so that it's going to soften up. So I'm hoping the juices from the turkey and stuff will help with that. Maybe. All right, so we're going to let that get in there. And let that heat up for a little bit. And then we're going to put these aside. And then we're going to take our container here. We're going to take our barley. And we're going to put our barley down first. Luckily the barley is not burnt. The way that it smelled in here, I was like, oh, that smells like it could be burnt. But it is not, in fact. So that's good. So we're going to pour that barley out over here and make a layer with it. It looks just like, the barley layer looks just like the show. So that's good. That makes me excited that at least it looks on point. And so we're going to scrape this barley out, and we'll have our first layer. All right. Got that going. So first layer acquired on that. And then, oh, missed a leaf. Get all this in here. I'm not concerned about the spinach cooking. The only thing I get concerned about is making sure that the sweet potato is not like hard as bricks when you bite into it, because that's what I'm afraid of, is it's just going to be hard. But I'm not exactly sure what Cinchi was doing. I mean, in cooking it, theoretically, it's supposed to soften it up. And the rest of this should soften it up, so we'll see. Episode 17 was wild. Episode 17 was insane. I was not prepared. I wasn't ready. When I saw harpies, and I thought, oh, I know what a harpy is. And I did not expect Falin to show up. It makes sense, though. It makes sense. And then Kabru being all up in this, I get really excited. Kabru is maybe, if I had a top 3 characters at this point, Laios obviously still up there. Kabru for sure up there. My third favorite, I would like to say Falin. I love Falin as a character. She's so fascinating. But Marcel grows on me. Marcel is my girl. I know I didn't include her in my party last week for reasons. But Marcel's my homegirl. I love her. I would definitely hang out with Marcel all the time. Okay, get this in here. The spinach is soaking up. It looks pretty good. The only thing is the sweet potatoes. Whether or not they are getting cooked or not is the only question that I have going into this. Because I think that they're just going to be, I don't know how to make them not crunchy. I'm sure you all will comment down below being like, oh, Romania, you should have done this. And I'll be like, yes, that is, if I do this again, that is what I should do. This isn't something that I would like, this is very much like, this feels like a college, other than the egg sauce, which is complicated, this is like something that you would make in college if you were like on, like you had to wait till the end of the week to go get groceries and you just had this stuff lying around. You're like, this is what I'm going to make. I've decided. I know in college we used to make this thing where it was soup, but it was just hamburger and it was potatoes and carrots in a crock pot. But instead of water, because we were in college and stupid, you just put a beer in it. Because, you know, you've heard people like taking Italian sausage or Italian beef and you soak it in beer and it creates a different flavor. That's what we do with the ground beef. And it was like college soup. All right, we're going to let this cook just a wee bit more and make sure we get it thorough and see if those potatoes soften up. And I'm going to check on that sauce and then we'll see what we got. Okay, so I have cooked this a fair amount. I tried to put a dash of salt in it and like half the salt container fell in it off camera. So we're gonna hope it's not too salty, but some of the potato is starting to soften, but it's still a bit crunchy. But I don't want the spinach to wilt anymore, so we may put it on top of that. And then that sauce terrifies me. So we'll see how this all comes together. Okay, so this is what it looks like in the tin. This is the scary sauce. But I don't want to eat directly out of the tin because I'm not an animal. And I don't have the appetite of Laios and them after their mission. So I'm going to put some of this onto a plate and then we're going to test it out. Okay, so for the record, I get why they had you eat out of the tin. This is messy. This is messy. So, it's a sweet potato. I'm curious to see what this will all taste like, so sweet potato took a long time to. We're going to try get some of this barley and some of this chicken in, or turkey rather, and some of the spinach and some of the sprouts. I tried to get a couple sprouts. That's not bad. It's kind of bland, which if I'm an American saying it's bland, it's probably really bland. But it needs a sauce, which is what that is. It definitely needs a sauce or something over this. Or I was thinking about this as I was putting this on the plate. I thought if I keep this and have some for breakfast, I could fry up an egg, which sounds so American. I could fry up an egg and put it over the top of it and have it, and that would be good. So I definitely think it needs that. But the spinach tastes great. And the turkey tastes great too. And the barley's cooked wonderful. And so you get some sprouts in it. I think the sprouts are really good. They add a fun texture. The big question is this sauce, which I feel is now made into, it's kind of formed this sort of hollandaise sauce a bit. I don't think it's curdled, but it has a sauce consistency kind of like hollandaise. I'm going to put a little bit on, I don't know, I might just dip a piece of the sweet potato into it and see. I don't know. I'm not a big hollandaise person to begin with. I don't know if I like that. I don't feel safe with that. It mostly tastes of vinegar, but there's just, I don't know. I feel like if I went to a restaurant and someone made hollandaise sauce for me, like a professional chef, I probably wouldn't question it. And I'd be like, yes, you know exactly what you're doing. There's nothing inherently wrong. It doesn't taste bad, but I really don't want food poisoning. So I probably won't eat more than that. I'll probably say, no, I'm good. Which is a shame because I wasted 2 dang eggs. It cost me an arm and a leg. It's fine. They probably would have set in my fridge and not be used anyway, so I'm glad that I actually could make the sauce. The directions on it weren't hard, but it just, I don't trust it. So I'm probably going to toss that. This, on the other hand, turned out pretty good. I like this a lot. Is it the best dish I've made? No. I think the onigiri were better. Definitely the cabbage steaks. Those were still top tier. But this one's probably like mid-range. If I were a struggling college student and I had some spare parts left over and I was like, I need to cook something, this would get the job done. I think what I'm going to do is put some sauce on it. Like some chili sauce that I used last week or some soy sauce or something. Although there were a lot of salt end up in this, so maybe just the chili sauce. But I think putting that on it, this would actually be pretty good. So, all in all, not bad. That sauce, I'm glad I could make it. Good to know. But I don't trust myself with it, so unfortunately that's probably going to be a sacrifice to the deities. But in other news, I think this turned out all right. I've got lots of leftovers now. I'm going to basically be having lunch for the next 2 days, which is great. Waste not, want not. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts down below if you've ever tried something like this, what you think of that dang sauce. And anyway, I'm super excited about episode 18. So we'll see what kind of cooking shenanigans we get up to next week. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more of Delicious in Dungeon. Bye!